I finally figured out. I figured it out. One of the biggest mysteries that I've been dealing with in my life for, I would say, like 7 years. But first, can I just say, I'm so sorry, everybody. This is the worst outfit that I've ever put on for this pod. Like, can you tell I literally just rolled out of bed? And then here's what's so funny. When I was walking up here today, I remembered I had to go to a Soho House meeting. God, I know he's going to leave that cut in where no one's in the chair and I'm just laughing at myself. I don't care, okay? I have to go. Okay, guys, can you please let me know in the comments, do you know what Soho House is? Just leave a comment and then you can like edit it or something later. But I'm so sorry. I have to make fun of this for a second. Soho House is like this place where they have different clubs in different cities. They're work clubs. They're like exclusive work clubs. I'm so sorry to anybody that has a Soho House membership, okay? But this is just how I see it. And they have some in New York, and they have some in like LA, and blah, 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 blah. And like, motherfuckers just go there and pay a lot of money, and you have to get like accepted to go there. Like you have to send them like your social media and stuff like that. I don't know. And then you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money. And then they have like food and drinks and beautiful people and like a pool. And like, I don't give a shit about that. Like who? I thought y'all was trying to work and make money. Why do you need a pool? It's just not. So anyways, one of my long-term like friends / clients was like, oh, let's do lunch next week. And I was like, sure. And then they were, wait, I really like this person. That's just like, I was tired or something. I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, okay, great. Soho House next week. And I was like, should I bring my bikini or my laptop? Like, what the? I'm just not a Soho House person, okay? In other news, okay, this is so, here we go. I've made a list of random words that I'm going to call out that are extremely unattractive so that nobody gets horny, okay? Do you ever meet people that are like bilingual and you feel so stupid? I say that because I'm always so impressed when somebody's bilingual, bilingual, trilingual, polyglot. Oh my God, I'm so obsessed. I think that knowing another language is just one of the most attractive things that you can do for yourself or just anything, right? Also, it's fun, okay? I am a talker, so words just do things for me. And I think that if you want to start learning a new language, you should try Babble. It's very fun, it's very interactive, and immersion learning is the best way to learn, okay? I've been dabbling in language learning for years, just for fun. Like, I'm telling you, it's so stimulating to me. If you do immersion learning and you make a list of like keywords, flashcards that you study, you will genuinely learn a language so much faster than you ever could have expected. Babble has tips and lesson plans that are rooted in like real life approaches. So it makes it pretty easy to jump in if you were to travel or if you just want to like be able to speak to people in a different language and actually know what each other's saying, right? And think about it. If you were to start now, if you were to start today, think about how far you could be in learning a new language in 2 years if you actually commit to it. And of course, using a tool like Babble makes it way, way, way easier, and it takes out a lot of the legwork, but you still gotta get in there and study. Also, don't even get me started on Babble's speech recognition. It is so good. It'll actually help you get your accent like perfect, as near perfect as possible, right? And now, I will be giving one of the greatest discounts of all time. I'm gonna start negotiating these because I do want you guys to get the best price if you're gonna try something. 60% off. 60% off, baby, okay? 60% off of your subscription. All you gotta do is go to babbel.com/I-got-nothin. Or you can put in that promo code like once you go to checkout, but it's babbel.com/I-got-nothin. 60% off and well on your way to learning a new language. So a couple of years ago, I am just out and about in LA. I was leaving my apartment and I was like, I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's. And I think I had gone somewhere earlier in the day. Maybe I was at work, like at Smosh, and we were filming or something, but I was dressed up in my usual little like gothy attire, you know, my boots. I've got my boots on now, you know, I had my usual big chunky boots on, okay? And I don't know, some other probably like gothy thing. And I'm in this Trader Joe's and I'm looking at the cheese. I remember this. I was looking at the cheese and salami. I'm fully distracted here because there's so many different types of cheeses, so many different types of salami. What the fuck do we have so many salamis? They all taste the same to me, you know? I mean, truly, think about it. There's so many salamis. I was going to try to name one. I don't have anything. And this man comes up to me and he's kind of like shorter stature. He's like really like thin. He's kind of like a, I don't know, maybe mid-30s guy. And he comes up to me and he looks at me like, I think, okay, I'm very short, but in my memory, I don't know how big my boots were. He might have been like a pretty short guy because I feel like he was looking up at me. But this guy comes up to me with his whole chest and he's looking right up at me and he goes, "I really like your boots." I was like, thank you. I mean, what would you say to that, right? But this has always been burned into my brain because, I mean, when I say that this guy looked like he had to muster up all of the courage in the world to come up to me, like this was like a big moment for him. And he's like, "I really like your boots." And I was like, okay, thank you. And I just kind of went back to looking at the cheeses and he went away. And I just thought that was so weird. I thought that was the weirdest thing. And I never put together any, you know, because like he wasn't like asking me out on a date or anything. He literally just complimented my boots and then went away. I figured out what it was. Some of you might already know what it is. Leave that in the comments too, okay? And then if you're wrong, you can edit it. He was a foot guy, okay? I'm on to you little freaks now. I'm on to you guys, okay? I just realized they're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. And you guys are literally just checking out people's toes while they're wearing sandals. I just figured this out. We sit around making jokes all the time about like foot guys. Like girls would be like, "Oh, fuck it. Should I just quit my job and start doing like foot pictures? Ha 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 ha." Or like I've been making jokes about my wiki feet for years, okay? But I just realized they're out there, like lurking in the shadows. I don't know how I can confirm or deny this statistic, but I just feel this in my bones. I think, hold on, let me look up foot guy statistics. Oh, also for the words. Actually, I don't think that you need that because if you're hard right now, I just need you to go away. Okay? Okay. Foot guys. I'm telling you, this is... Okay, hold on. I'm telling you, this is like a... Okay, all right. Dude, this is how enthusiastic foot guys are. I just looked this up. Obviously, the first thing that comes up is Kiora, so I can only read one answer. Somebody said, the question was, what percentage of men do you think like women's feet? And this foot guy responded and said, "I think it's 100%. Just the majority of men are afraid to admit it." I don't think most men like feet, okay? But, okay, my deduction is I literally think 1 in 10 dudes are looking at your toes, okay? I just want you guys to know this. I just want you to, and now I'm on watch, okay? Don't drop your eyes. Don't drop your eyes. If you drop your eyes, you better be looking at my tits like a normal dude, okay? Don't drop them below the waist. I'm on to all of you. I'm on to all of you. And stay the fuck away from my wiki feet. Stay away. Like, there's always people making jokes like, "You got the dogs out on the timeline?" And now I'm like, oh my God, like this is serious. This is serious. I'm at the beach in a full cover up, but barefoot, and I'm not even gonna go into this. Okay. I actually have quite a bit to run through today. Like, I'm definitely catching up with you. Okay, so last week I asked, or the other week, because this is only every 2 weeks, right? I asked you if you even care how I'm doing. Why am I like this, by the way? I'm like, do you even care about me? But the problem is I say, do you even care about me? Like every 1 to 2 hours, you know? I asked you guys if you even cared about me, and you said yes. So allow me to expand. It's Tuesday, July 10th. I actually don't know if it was July 10th. I've been taking a couple of weeks off of like live streaming, and my work doesn't end though. It literally, like, there's always like a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes, like legal stuff or like setting up like corporation. Like I have to like set up a new LLC for all this stuff and like do all this legal stuff. And I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know like what I'm doing when I'm not live or on the podcast, you know? I have to do a lot of like admin shit. And so Tuesday, I get up, 10 a.m., emails flying through my inbox, things that I should probably be responding to. I wake up late on the couch, immediately start playing Lana Del Rey, and I was digging under my sink for like a lost edible. Okay? It was not good. I've been down bad for weeks. And just in general, over life, okay? There is never a moment where you're listening to Lana Del Rey on a Tuesday in the morning while looking for an edible, just one that you've left under the sink to numb out all the pain. All right? It's not good. But I'd rather be digging under my kitchen sink at 10 a.m. than like back at the office right now. So I count my blessings. I really do. Have I been on the island that much? I think I have been on the island a little bit. I don't really care though. I'm at a point now where like when I start to get really down and I have like a little like depressive like couple of weeks, like hee hee whatever. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Let's let it be. When are we gonna get over this so I can go be fun again? Because when I'm fun, I feel like I do a lot of fun stuff. And I like call my friends and I'm very active and da 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 da. But I'm just like a little burnt out or something right now. But also, that's why I like doing this podcast because, well, when you guys let me have friends, then it's super easy because I sit here and I'm just like me, and then the other person's like me, and I'm like me, and that it's so easy. And also, it's like I get let out of my little cage and I'm allowed to talk to people. When have you guys ever seen me collab with somebody outside of this podcast? Like as far as you're concerned, if you're from Main Channel, I don't have any friends and I don't have any feet. Okay, like I don't know, but I like doing this podcast because I like to me with the people, but also like to just me with you guys, right? Like, as long as something like fairly interesting has happened in the week, like I'm so down to just like do a little download, right? Like also, can y'all tell? I asked this before. I don't know if anyone answered. Somebody please answer. Am I different on the live streams than in the podcast? Dude, that's so annoying. I'm like literally girlfriend vibes. Like, do you still like me? I feel like I'm way different on the podcast, but it's so weird because I feel like I'm myself in the live streams. I also feel like I'm myself here. But you know what? When we're doing the live streams, I have an agenda. I'm like, I have like a production sheet. I'm like, that I put together myself, usually. I've been the producer for a couple years. You don't care. You don't care. Turn the page, Boz. Okay. Another thing. So. A couple weeks ago, I'm in my office, okay? My boyfriend and I both work from home, and I'm very messy. He's not. He's very, very clean. So we have like somebody that takes care of our house, takes care of our pets. We split it and they come by every week, right? Also, I normally don't say people's names or whatever on it, but hi, Angie. She always watches my stuff. She's literally watching right now. Hi, Angie. Hey. So Angie comes in my office a couple weeks ago. And she was like, oh my God, I still can't believe this happened. Okay, I really need to set the scene. I need you to know I'm on my computer and it's not a good day because I think I'm playing League of Legends at like 3 o'clock, okay? Yeah, get a job, Boz, right? whatever. I think I was just like, I'm going to dial into an ARAM. So like, I'm in this state of mind, this like stasis, right? I'm just clicking away. And Angie comes in my office and she was like, Erica. I was like, yeah, what's up? She said, I didn't want to tell you. I'm like, uh-huh. But there's a snake in the other office. And I took my hands off that keyboard so fast. And I said, Angie, what the did you just say to me? She said, there's a snake in your boyfriend's office. And I'm like still processing. And she said, it's under the couch. And I was like, how does it get worse? How does it get worse? And so my boyfriend's there. I think I quit out of the ARAM, which like y'all know, like you don't quit out of a game. I don't. Okay, even in ARAM, like you just don't leave. It's bad practice. This scared me. Okay, this scared me. Maybe I finished the game. Maybe I don't know. But I was out of it, right? And so I go upstairs. With my boyfriend and Angie's with me. I'm like, hey, there's a snake in your office. And he's like, what? So all three of us go into the office and we're just staring at the couch. And I'm like, what are we going to do? And my boyfriend's like, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm like, but you're the man. You're supposed to get the snake. And he's like, I'm not. He's like, okay, babe, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm terrified of snakes. And so we start arguing and then, bickering. And then Angie's like, well, give me a towel and a trash bag and I'll take care of it. I said, what do you mean you're going to take care of it? She said, I'll take care of it. Come on. And so we shut the door. We got the dog out of the office. We shut the door. And then, I don't know, I got her the trash bag and the towel. And then the three of us are standing outside of the door again, like Ghostbusters, okay? And we open the door and scurry in, and I give her the trash bag and a towel. Because I'm not, also, what would you guys do? Like, okay, but tell me, like, what would you do? First of all, let me give you two horrible scenarios, okay? One, remember the snake is under the couch in my boyfriend's office? Remember, the snake is under the couch in my boyfriend's office. Can you imagine being him and you're in your little home office and he's always listening to music, like he's going, like he's in the zone, dog's in the office, but dog's getting a little old. Like, she's just chilling and he's just enjoying, and then let's say he gets up and he sees a snake slither from under the couch. If that was you, is that not a nightmare? I have been terrified of a snake coming out of the toilet and biting my ass for years, okay? So I know that it sounds very irrational. Does anyone else have the snake toilet fear? Like, I've had that since I was a kid. Like, ooh, snake just gonna come out of the toilet and bite my butt. I don't know. I've thought about that. So I just cannot imagine sitting in the office and minding your business and a snake comes out. It wasn't gonna happen that way. I'm just like, I'm thinking about how horrible that would have been for him. That sounds like a nightmare. But also, too, what would you have done if you were in the house alone? I want to know if you would have been able to handle the snake and like how you would have gotten it out of the house, or if you would have called somebody. Oh my God. I just realized I have another story and it's not going to be good. Okay. So, okay. I gotta hurry up. There's so much that's happened this week. 'Cause this other thing I gotta tell you, it just happened yesterday. Oh my God. So, okay. So we're in the office. I'm standing on a chair and they have to lift the couch up together. I filmed this, by the way, while I was on top of the chair. And so my boyfriend goes to lift up the couch. It's like a smaller couch. And she's on the other side with the towel and the trash bag. I don't know how she plans to handle this, but they lifted it up and I saw it and I was like, you have to be kidding me. Here's the thing. It was not a big snake. It was like this big, okay? But I ask you this, riddle me this. Is that not enough? okay? That's enough of snake. So they lift it. I see it. I'm screaming. I thought that it was gonna like, I don't know, slither away or something, but it stayed right there. And we all freaked out and he dropped the couch. And so we're like, okay, we gotta do it again. And he lifted up the couch. And this time she was like ready. She took the towel, threw it over the snake, picked it up, bear pawed it with her bare hands, threw it inside of the bag, tied the bag up, and then threw it out the window, okay? Now, that's part of the reason that the snake got in. There's vines outside of my boyfriend's window, and he always has his damn window open because he's one of those fresh air people. Put me in a dark room and close all the windows. Seal it up, baby. But he's always got his little window open. So this snake like slithered up and got into his office. I couldn't believe it. And so I'm like, okay, we've been rescued. I think she like got the snake and like let it out somewhere. I don't know what she did with it afterwards, but she, put it outside that she could go back and so she'd go get it and sealed him up in the bag. And so I'm being as dramatic as possible about this. I'm telling everybody. I made a YouTube community post. I messaged my entire team. I called my best friends. I was just, you're not going to believe what happened to me. I absolutely seized the opportunity to be dramatic about this. Would you? I'm sorry, this is turning into me asking you 1,000 questions. Clearly, I'm lonely this week. Thank you. So she comes back in, and I'm trying to think, okay, well, at least it wasn't that big of a snake. Like I'd asked her, like, how big was it? Was it really this big? And she said, oh, it's a baby snake. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank God. And she was like, but that means that the mama snake is nearby. I was like, you didn't have to say that. You did not have to say that. I said, baby, close up all the windows. Shut the doors. The snakes could have hands. Get the balcony too. I was like, I'm not doing this. So we lived in fear for like a week or two. First it was Carmichael and now the snake. I cannot believe a snake got into our home in LA. Like, I don't know. That's just wild to me. On to the next story. Okay. I feel like I need to explain an old story. That I have told before, not on this pod, but like if I tell this story one more time, then it's the end of this one. It's permanently online. It's good to go. But I feel like this one is necessary to really dive into what happened yesterday. So, oh my God. This is so embarrassing. God, do you guys hate when I tell my embarrassing stories? You're like, Boz, I cringe out on this one. Maybe I'll put a timer in for you so when it gets to the less cringe part, that's the update. But I'm just letting you know right now, this first one is pretty bad. I'm going to make it shorter for my own embarrassment. I think the full story is on some video on main channel because I told this story on live. It just randomly came up. But one day during the pandemic, I was up like in the early hours and I started having like a panic attack. And I don't really get panic attacks anymore. I had a brief period when I was like 18 or 19 where I was getting like a lot of panic attacks and it kind of slowly subsided to the point that I hadn't had one in years. So when I woke up randomly at like 6 or 7 a.m. and I immediately started having a panic attack, my brain was like, is this a panic attack or is something wrong with my body that's waking me up and trying to alert me? Okay, I'm trying to give you some context. So I've had panic attacks before. I try to call my mom. I try to calm down. I'm like telling myself like, you're okay. Like this isn't real. But like, I'm like really having I'm like, am I okay? And like my mom knows that I've had these before. So she's trying to like talk me through it, And then I don't even know what happens, but like it gets to the point where she's like, you know what? Maybe you should. This is so silly. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. She's like, maybe you should call somebody just to make sure you're okay. Like if you really don't think it's a panic attack. And I'm like, I really don't know. Okay. Like I really don't know. And so I try to stick this out for like, I think like 2 hours. And I felt like it was getting worse, but panic attacks get worse. And so I'm like, fuck it. Okay, whatever. I'll have to call. So I do. I like called a non-emergency and I basically was like, I think I'm not sure if I'm having a panic attack or something else is wrong, like blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so I do that. That's the most embarrassing part that I had to call, right? And they were like, okay, what's your apartment? We're gonna come there. And I need you guys to know, I swear on my life, I could not breathe. And it weirded me out too, because this wasn't a scenario where something had happened and a panic attack made sense. It was just I woke up feeling like, you know, something was happening. And also we were all a little fucked up during the pandemic, right? And so I was laying on the couch and like I literally like cannot breathe, right? And so, but I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna be okay. And they knock on my door and I go to open the door. And there's these two tall, hot, tattooed paramedics. And I don't know why, but they were both model level hot. Like, and this is not something where I'm like, ooh, I love a man in a uniform. I don't give a f about the uniform. Take it off, right? These two guys, they just objectively had like good haircuts. They were very tall. They had good facial hair. I'm like, what are you guys having modeling competitions in your downtime? I opened the door and these guys were so hot. Whatever was happening to me immediately went away. I am not kidding. And that's the worst part. That is the worst part. Is that in that moment, I looked at these two men and I could breathe again. And I was like, okay, it was all in your head. This is very embarrassing. Let's figure out how to get them out of here. You're a crazy person. And so I was like, I don't even know what I said. And they were like, well, since we're here, you know, we still have to like do your vitals and stuff. And I was so fucking embarrassed because for some reason, it was like the embarrassment for me was so strong that it overcame the anxiety. And it was like, you're not having a panic attack. Like, you're fine. And I was like, I am fine. This is horrible. And so now these two hot paramedics are just in my living room, like, taking my vitals. And then they were like, well, and why were they so soft-spoken? Were they even paramedics? Did I call the Chippendales? So they leave, and I call my mom, and I was like, I'm actually fine. And I don't think I told her in the moment. Maybe I did tell her in the moment about them, but whatever. That happened. It was awful. And I haven't had a panic attack since. I don't have them often. And also, let me just say, that was several years ago. That had to have been, well, it was during the pandemic. So it was like 2020. So this was like 4 years ago or something, right? I just want you guys to know, I do not call the emergency hotline often. I can tell you right now, there's 3 times I've called. That time that I just told you about, and actually that time I called non-emergency. And then the second time was one time I came home from like just being out with friends, and it was very late at night, like 11 or 1 or something. I don't know. It was like midnight or 1. And I came home and this girl was passed out on my patio. She was like wasted, drunk. And we only had a couple of apartments in the complex, and I knew she didn't live there. It just looked like she was drunk and she passed out. And I was like, do I mind my business? And I was like, well, absolutely not. Like, I'm not going to leave this chick fucking. I tried to wake her up. She wouldn't wake up. So I call. I had to get her picked up. Paramedics couldn't wake her up either. But I was like, look, I hope you got insurance, but I can't leave you outside. Okay. That time. And then in all of my 7 years in LA, I've only had to call one other time, and that was yesterday. So that's 3 times. I just want you guys to know I'm not out here dialing 911 Karen style every 2 seconds, all right? So yesterday, I am in my apartment. I'm putting on my makeup. I think I was actually getting ready to record a Sinister. And right as I do the last stroke of eyeliner, my fire alarm starts going off. And not only is it, I mean, it's like the fire alarm is saying, fire, fire, saying fire, 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 over and over again. And it's fire, fire. And it's not just one alarm. It's every single alarm in the house. I can't get it to turn off. I'm too short. I got this broom. I'm trying to get it. My boyfriend's not at the house. And it's like fire, fire. And I'm like freaked out because I'm like, is there a fire somewhere? Is there a carbon monoxide or something like that? Like, and it keeps going fire, fire. I can't turn anything off. It was like, dude, I think I recorded this for a second. And like, bro, keep in mind, this was going on for like 20 minutes. Oh, hold on. You should be able to hear this. Oh my God. How loud is that? Wait, I don't know if you can hear it saying fire over and over again. So, okay. Anyways. So that's going off forever. Like, I'm calling my boyfriend. He's looking at like the fire alarm panel in our thing. Nobody else has fire alarms going off. And I don't really know what to do. So we called our landlord and he was like, well, if it's saying fire, then like, I need you to call the department because they need to check it out and make sure there's not like something subtle or like carbon monoxide, like I mentioned. Like, and I was like, okay, because like, we're renting. And so I go on my little phone and I look up the non-emergency line for the fire department, call the fire department. And I'm also really embarrassed calling. Does anyone else feel embarrassed calling emergency services? Because you're like, oh my God, I'm being dramatic right now. But look, motherfucker told me to call. I don't want to be liable if anything's going on, right? So, and also the alarms are still going off. I cannot get them to turn off. And so I call the non-emergency line and they're like, what's your address? And I'm giving them my address and I'm like, just so you guys know, I don't see a fire. I don't smell anything, but my landlord has asked me to call just to make sure. And also we can't turn these alarms off. They're like connected to a system. And they were like, okay, we're going to send somebody out. And I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go wait outside. So I think I was like halfway in my pajamas. I was like halfway in my pajamas. I just threw on some ugly shoes and I just went out front to go wait for them. I'm sitting there. I'm like texting my boyfriend. I'm like, are the alarms still going off? He's like, yeah, it's still going off. It's pretty bad. Like everyone in the unit can hear it. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. And then I hear these sirens tearing around the street. And I'm like, please, God, don't let those sirens be for me. And then the sirens turn on my street. And it's the biggest goddamn fire truck I've ever seen in my life. I didn't even know they made them that big, okay? And then there's a regular sized fire truck behind it. So they sent 2 fire trucks on our small street and they come in. And I'm so embarrassed. And they pull up, they block off the street, and I kind of wave like, hey, it's me. And I'm like, am I supposed to look panicked? Like, hey, over here, the fire is over here. But I'm just like, hey guys, me. So they stop, and there's like 6 of them. And the fire chief gets out, and the fire chief is hot. He was a hot man. He was a very hot man. His face is burned into my brain. And I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, because dispatch doesn't tell them like, hey, it's just an alarm kind of issue, or there's no immediate fire. They just say, here's the address, show up there now. And so all these big fire, the whole squad showed up. And so I'm talking to the fire chief and I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, we don't think there's a fire. And then the other firefighters start getting out and there's 6 of them. And guess what? They're all hot except for 1, but they're pretty much all, and it's the same thing. What the are you guys doing in the emergency services? I know y'all are like out batting each other. This is abnormal. Okay. This is abnormal. Can anyone else vouch for this? Like hospital nurses or anything? Are the guys in the ambulance like way hotter than they should be? Why are the firemen so hot? There is no reason that 6 of you should appear and 5 of you are hot. Not ragging on this dude too much. I'm just being realistic, you know? But God, they were all. So I don't need all 6 of you. I don't need all of you here. I just need help with the alarms. And so then the hot fire chief, he was so hot. I can't stop saying that. I'm sorry. I'm objectifying this person right now, right? Whatever. Shut up. So I'm like, okay, well, here we go. Here's where my apartment is. And I was like, they all start trailing in behind me. And I'm like, hey, I really don't. we don't need this many. Like, you guys don't have to be fully suited up unless you want to. And we don't need like all the extinguishers. Those look very heavy. Like I'm being like overly, you know, and they're so serious. And so they walk in and I take them to the elevator and then I'm crammed into an elevator with like 5 of them. And we get into my apartment and it's still going, wah, wah. And I was, oh my God, can you guys imagine how embarrassing it would have been if the alarms hadn't stopped? Like, you know, when you have to finally call for help and then the thing that you called for help about has like stopped and then you're afraid that people are going to think that like you're just a loser. Like you're so stupid. Why are you so dumb? So there's this feeling of relief when I go in and the alarms are still going on. And so I was telling them, I was like, I'm so sorry. I really don't think there's a fire. We just had to call. And also, I don't know what to do about these alarms. And they were like, don't worry. We got it. And I was like, okay. And so they have to like go through my whole house and take down they have to like, all the alarms were like hardwired. And so they had to like take them down. And so this is like taking a little while, which is so nice of them. Like they're firefighters, not tech support. Okay. But so I like go down there because I feel so bad. I'm like, do you guys need anything? Like, do you need like a stick to hit a button? Do you need some water? Do you need anything? And I go down and they have to like I guess this is just like a firefighter thing. They have to like climb on top of each other. They're like little acrobats to get to high places. They didn't need a stick. They just climb all over each other. So they get all the alarms down. And I'm very grateful for this. Very grateful for this. And I don't want to call emergency services anymore. I don't want to do that. Having to call for any reason has done nothing but cause me pain and shame. All right. I was on the phone with my boyfriend when the firefighters got there. And when I realized they were all hot, I got embarrassed. And like while I was on the phone with him, I said, I don't know if I should be saying this. While I was on the phone with him, I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. What am I wearing right now? And he said, why do you care what you're wearing around the firefighters? I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No reason. Listen, I wear my embarrassment on my sleeve. And some of you can't handle that either, which I think is like totally okay. How long have we been hanging out? Dude, it has to have been like, I always feel like I talk for like an hour and then the final episode comes out and it's like 30 minutes. I think the first one I did about Lord, we went on and on and on. I don't know how I even talked that long. Hold on. I'm supposed to go to this meeting. Let me text this person. Are we still going? That's about all she wrote, guys. I will. You know what? Do I have a guest next week? I think I have a guest coming up on the following episode. But what was I going to say? We have a guest on the next episode. I was going to say who they were, but I don't want to say it quite yet. It's these people, I really liked their podcast. So I was just like, will you come on mine? But I think it'll be like a really fun episode. So be nice to our visitors, children. I feel like a mom that has like very possessive kids that are like, no, you can't go out with your friends. But like I also like always give into it, and then I'm always like, okay, like fine, I'll hang out with you, you know. But I like hanging out with you guys, so it's whatever. I don't know. Subscribe to this channel, and if you're listening on Spotify, rate it 5 stars. Otherwise, what am I gonna do? Come out of your closet at night. Thank you. Thank you.